We're glad to have you back. This is Business Nigeria. Let's head to our second conversation. The surge in fraud cases, particularly in digital and electronic payment systems, have remained a growing concern in the Nigerian financial system. According to a report from the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, the total amount recorded from banks of fraud and forgery cases stood at 120.79 billion naira. And in 2020, we'll discuss some more of this development and other issues in the Nigerian financial sector. I'm now being joined virtually, of course, by Mr. Temitope Omosuyi. He's an investment strategist from Afri-Invest Asset Management Limited. Thank you indeed for agreeing to join us on the show this afternoon, Mr. Temitope.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so well, according to the NDIC, I mean, this, of course, calls for serious concern. 120.79 billion naira, of course, issues around bank fraud and forgery. I wonder how you received this news.
Well, like you said, it's quite disturbing, having to know that fraud or fraudulent cases in the financial system is not abating. And it's not just limited to Nigeria. It's not just about Nigeria. It is happening globally. So, and I think why it's becoming more perverse is is as a result of the adoption of technology. Fine, technology has come to help solve a number of problems around, financial products and services delivery. But then it has opened up, opportunities for more, fraudulent or fraud cases within the financial space. So not just limited to the banking sector, we also have bank financial institution. So, but then, when you look at what is happening, the disruption in the banking sector, the impact of technology, has helped in terms of bringing more people into the financial space, because which is the ultimate, objective of every government. But then, as you have more people in the system, and the people you have within the financial space are not enlightened, it will continue to open up more room for, for compromises and attack, on the financial institution. And if care is not taken, if we are not proactive enough, it could erode trust in the financial system. And John, I know that financial system, banking sector, or every bank is built on one thing: trust. If trust is eroded, banking sector will be greatly challenged, and it's very important for everyone to trust, the citizen to trust the financial system, because a weak financial system will actually signal that economic growth, the activities, economic activities in the country will be impeded, and ultimately it will negatively impact growth. So what I'm saying in essence is quite complex. And fraudsters are also becoming extremely innovative and evolving, such that they understand the development in technology, and they also capitalize on ignorance of people to just to penetrate their resources, their money with financial institution.
Really scary, Mr. Temitope. But when you also look at perhaps the environment here, the economic hardships, I wonder if you think that is also contributing to many persons wanting to engage in such, well, I'm not sure I'll call it businesses or illegal businesses, if I may. So what would you describe as the factors here in Nigeria, and what would you also perhaps describe as the factors outside the country? Because you have said it's not a Nigerian thing, it's a global thing, bank fraud and forgery. So what are some of the factors you would point at as factors mitigating or responsible for this this growth in forgery?
Thank you very much. I think we have various factors, complex factors that are responsible. Some are induced by how banking operation, particularly in Nigeria, is structured, and one could also allude some of those problems to government and the lifestyle of, people. In addition to that, it is also cyclical. So, or I would say, or maybe seasonal. So what I mean by that, I'll start with the last point. What I mean by seasonal pattern of fraud cases, you will remember very well that 2016, the Ponzi scheme, this popular Ponzi scheme, MMM became, prevalent. It was all out there because people needed more money due to the recession that we saw in 2016. So period of economic hardship usually lead to, high level of crime, not just limited to cyber crime. So, crime and among other, ways that people would just want to get money so as to survive. So I would allude it to, yes, economic condition. Now that there's a global problem affecting Nigeria, prices are high, cost of living is hitting the roof. So that is, affecting the desperation at which people, are out there to get money. However, one should also look at what is happening within the banking sector. For instance, I could pick an example of the structure of bank in terms of how they employ staffs. The report by the MBS on the structure of staffs within the banking sector, you have the casual staff, you have the permanent staff, and so you will observe that most of the staff strength of the banking sector are largely casual staff, or the ones you call the contract staffs. And some of these staffs are within the system for 5, 10, 20 years. They handle sensitive materials, sensitive resources. They have access to information that can be compromised to defraud people. So, and most of these people are not regularly promoted. In fact, some are there 5, 10 years. They have access to resources and all that. They don't get the the best reward. They feel, and they also understand that when there's a problem in the economy, the banking system, they will be the first to be laid off. So they may want to take advantage of the information at their disposal to defraud clients and defraud the bank. So beyond just the economic, economic event or the dead state of the economy that is, accentuating the problem of, cyber attack, crimes and all that, I think the structure of bank, we should also begin to look at that. Despite, there's a law in Nigeria that is out there to punish staffs of bank, if whenever they defraud institution. But I think we should look at that in terms of how to look at the structure of banks and how these people, have to be well compensated. In addition to that, if you look at, we've seen cases, I'm sure we've had cases of prominent people in Nigeria that, listed by AMCON and a number of, agencies, media houses, that they have defrauded 1 or 2 banks, but today, none of them, maybe most of them are not punished. So, when you think that, yes, Mr. A, Mr. B, or Mr. C did this in the past and he was not punished, then that will incentivize more people to actually want to go into, crime. They want to go into the fraud so as to also take advantage of the weak system, so to say, because the people that have done it in the past are not, severely, or most of them are not severely punished. So economic trend is a factor. The structure of bank staff is also a factor, in addition to the fact that some people that should be brought to book have not been, dealt with.
Yes, so I need to squeeze in as many questions as possible. Are you also worried perhaps about the timing of this report, because it's taking the NDIC, that's the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, almost 2 years to produce this report, and so are you worried about the timing? Are you also perhaps worried as to what could have played out between 2020 and 2022? And maybe I should just add, it's a 3-in-1 question. Some analysts and experts even doubt the numbers, 120.79 billion naira. They think it could have been higher. What do you say?
I think I will agree with you that, the fact that the report is delayed, that's is a bit concerning. But then, I started on the note that financial system is built on trust. So the Monetary Policy Authority, the central bank, which is the regulator of, commercial bank, we want to try as much as possible to conceal some of this information so as not to, so as not to erode trust in the system. In addition to that, an average or a financial institution would not want to actually come out there to say that, yes, I have been defrauded to the tune of S billion naira, or S trillion naira, because of the fact that it will affect the bank's integrity and trust. It's fact to affect the bank's valuation. So, which is why you see that you hardly hear that a bank staff is punished. Is very, it's very unpopular in this part of the world, although some are punished covertly. However, they will try as much as possible to do that so as not to erode the integrity of the financial system. So I really understand why some of those things are delayed. But I think the most important thing is to reduce the incidences of fraud, because it can destroy. In fact, it has destroyed so many lives, and the economy. It can actually destroy the economy as well, because I mentioned that economic growth, every economy is tied to the strengths and the viability of the financial system. So I really understand why some of these reports may be delayed, is in a bit to also ensure that the trust in the financial system is not eroded.
Well, we have to leave it here. Unfortunately, we're unable to discuss other issues. I mean, because it was the third quarter of 2022 that recorded the highest actual loss of about, I think, 25.73%. This is the third quarter of 2022. We hope that we do not experience another skyrocketing case of forgery and, of course, fraud in the banks this quarter. But that's a good place to anchor a conversation with you, Mr. Temitope Omosuyi. Thank you indeed for speaking with us. Investment Strategist at Afriverse Asset Management Limited.
Thank you. Yeah.